Thanks for listening to our podcast, Living Life with the Rogers. My name is Cameron.
And I'm Kira, and this is a lifestyle podcast where we talk about hashtag all the things and share our unpopular opinions. Tune in.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Living Life with the Rogers. We are back with a exciting and eventful new episode.
Yeah, we've stopped guaranteeing when we're going to do episodes, and you just get episodes when Cam and I's schedule aligns.
You get them when you get them, and you're thankful for them, you know?
Grateful for it, okay?
Yeah. And still in the new location, though. We have upgrade. We're going places,
yeah, we're out of the closet.
At a snail's pace, right? Like, you give us 10 years, and this thing's going to the moon. I can promise you that.
It's like whenever you and I's schedules aligned, and we're not working or babysitting kids, which is like never. So...
Well, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Our first big sponsor is Kira Nicole Photography. We'd like to thank her for being a huge sponsor of Living Life with the Rogers. If you're looking for your wedding photography needs, you go over to that Kira Nicole Photography. We got some other sponsors too. A lot of big things. The Rogers Home Improvement, big sponsor. So need any home improvement done to your home? I'm your guy. He's such a good guy, right? I mean, is there anybody that does it better than him? Probably not. Is there anybody that takes pictures better than Kira, that Kira girl?
No,
she does a good job.
But it's fine.
She's one of the best in the country. So we got some big sponsors and stuff. So let's dig into it because we got a heavy topic, an interesting topic.
Well, we just made up the term.
Well, we're just making up everything as we go, right?
First of all, is there anything going on in the world that we missed? I liked when we used to like update the people on the news.
Yeah, but we had like the Country Music Awards, but I miss that because the Caps are in the playoffs. We have, there's still tariffs going on. There's, new Pope, American-born Pope from Chicago. And this is latest breaking information. So I want to say it's the first American-born Pope, but also he's not a Chicago Cubs fan. He's a Chicago White Sox fan.
All right, I didn't hear about that, so I have nothing to add to that. But great.
Wow. That's the latest news. This is what's happening around the world right now. Is we had, I think it was 2 days to elect the new pope, and that's a big deal. So yeah. So congratulations to the Pope Council for making I don't know anything about this stuff. So
it's been a while since the Swifties are struggling a bit because it's been a while since we've had a Tavis sighting. So we're struggling on the Taylor Travis.
Look, that woman was touring for 2+ years, doing like 7-hour concerts every day.
She doesn't deserve a night off.
Give her a couple months off.
Just the Swifties are like, we're just hanging. We're like, there's nothing.
Yeah. What do you do with all your free time being a Swiftie without too much drama?
Work.
And then that's
every day.
I don't think there's anything else in current events. We're in hockey season. We're starting spring activities. Our soccer schedule's about to end a little bit. But as far as world events, maybe it's a good time to be in this world.
Every headline I see is like depressing, so I'm not going to bring anything of those. It's like people getting in accidents, disappearing off islands. It's like I got nothing. I got nothing.
UFOs sucking them into their vessels. Who knows? Yeah.
I got nothing positive to talk about. So I guess we'll just get right into it.
All right, so today our topic is Christian feminism. It's going to be a fun one. So what's kind of been on our hearts that we wanted to share with our audience is our love for Jesus and how he's shifted our perspective on things. But we also are a part of this world, and this world offers some interesting things. And I think one of the things that we've had a lot of internal conversations, and we didn't even know if we would ever want to kind of share this out in public. So be easy on us. Or if you know what, flood our email with hate mail. I probably won't have time to get to it, so that's fine. Just hate away.
Hey, I got no time to answer to the haters. So.
But I think, as believers in God, we kind of want to talk about what's our opinions on feminism. What's our opinions on
because we come from very different backgrounds too. Like I was raised in a feminist household, whereas you were raised in a like the man was the dominant figure and the wife was there to like be
very
submissive.
Traditional and conservative values. Yeah.
So we have to like take our two beliefs and values and like mush them together and like come in the middle, which is what we do with a lot of like hot topics, is like we try and land somewhere in the middle where it's like we're following the scriptures, but also like like we've talked about before, some people have really, in our opinion, misinterpreted the scriptures or taken advantage of them, which has caused to like some mistreatment of certain groups. And so we're trying to like figure out this balance of like, well, we believe the Bible and we believe the truth that Jesus has taught us, but also like, oh, we want women's rights. So like it's like a fine balance.
Yeah, give a short snippet of your family's opinion. What's okay? Couple questions. How do you define feminism, and how did you raise up with women empowerment? What was that like in your household?
Yeah, so like I kind of grew up in like a man haters club, like growing up, because it was like the men in
any of you man haters, like and subscribe now. Just hit that like button.
I think wasn't my mom a part of like those what was she? She was slinging her bra somewhere.
I think it was just a concept. I think it was like the Woodstock era.
I thought she was a part of like the women's rights protests back in the day, swinging her bra.
I mean, she hasn't shared.
All right, maybe we'll have to return to that story. But anyway,
yeah, let's get her on the podcast.
Either way, like the men in our life, like kind of didn't really pull their end of the bargain. So it was like a lot of like, well, a woman just has to do everything. She's got to raise the kids. She's got to do all the stuff around the house and manage this, manage that. It was like, I'll figure it out myself. I'll lift the hammer. I'll get the plunger. I don't need no man kind of attitude.
Get the snaps.
Yeah. So there was a lot of that for me growing up. Whereas what was the role of the woman in your house?
Yeah, so very traditional, very conservative. So the woman was to complement the man. Lot of like homemaking and raising the kids was like badge of honor. That was a woman's role, and men were supposed to lead, be in charge, be strong, take care of. It was really like we take care of outside. Women take care of the inside.
Yeah, and my mom worked my whole life, so like she believed in women being out in the career, like having careers for themselves, making their own money, not depending on a man for his money. And yours was very much like, no, have my hot dinner on the table at 5. The man is making all of the money and the woman is just there to raise the kids and cater to the man's needs, essentially.
Pretty much. So then those two worlds collided and it just went so beautifully well and so smooth as you would expect.
Yeah. So now when we say Christian feminist, like, cause I will joke that like I'm a feminist, but like I'm not like a true to my core feminist, because I want women to be treated just as respectfully as a man. Like I want that equal, like we are partners, but also like, yes, my husband has an accountability to God to lead our family well. And so long as he is in tune with what God's calling him to do and he's stepping into those roles that he's called to, being a good example, respectfully and lovingly leading us, then yeah, I can be a little submissive to that and I can follow your leadership on some of the decisions that you make for our family. But I very much have like a voice and a right, and I'm respected. And if I want to work, I can work. If I want to stay home, I can stay home. And I do a little bit of both. So it's like I'm kind of a weird mix where like I want to be here with my kids and I want to get to know them, and I like putting a meal on the table for my family, like that feels good. But then also I feel very fulfilled when I'm out in the work world and I'm serving people out there and I'm talking to people and meeting people and making money. It feels good to get a paycheck, like wow, I accomplished something for my family, this is going to help pay our bills, and that feels good also. So it's like this balance of like doing a little bit of both.
Yeah, well, let's make sure we're starting from the same playing field. So feminism, so there's a legit, I guess you could say, dictionary meaning of feminism, and it's the belief in advocacy. It's a lot of big words, so I'm not good at that. An advocacy of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes, expressed especially through organized activity on behalf of women's rights and interests. And I think just to kind of simplify that, it's just equal, rights for women, because they always felt inferior or behind the man.
For a while, women weren't allowed to get an education.
I mean, you can't vote, you can't do half the things, and then so then our lives merge, and we've had a lot of conversations about, what's your role as a woman in our household? What's your role as far as a woman, as far as raising the kids? And it's funny because when we got married, it was almost should be as a lack of awareness. I just thought, okay, you're going to go take care of the kids and I'll go find my job. And that's just what we do. And now fast forward, how many long time being married and a lot of conversations, a lot of God doing what he does just so beautifully. We're now in a situation in 2025 where we're very hybrid in our roles. So we almost don't even really have roles.
Yeah, we're intermixed.
We're very intermixed. And so, God's taught us a lot. So let's kind of break down a little bit of what he's kind of talked us about, how he views women, and now how does that change our perspective on whether Christianity should align with feminism or not. So what's your take on that? So what do you know about feminism, and what do you like about it? Is there any dislikes? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before, is like, I don't want, like, a woman shouldn't have a default role. It's like, well, let's look at the family. Let's look at how each one of our personalities and gifts can best suit the family. Like, to me, it's not so much about like gender as it is like, well, hey, wow, you have this gift that God, like, I feel like God gave me a gift to like be able to take beautiful pictures and serve people well. So should I just like shut that down because I'm a woman and stay home and raise the kids? It's like, no, like, this is a gift he gave you. Let's utilize it. And it benefits our family. It brings in good money. And it's the same with you. Like, sometimes like you're more affirming and loving and patient with the kids. And it's like, okay, so you do that role because that's one of your gifts, and I'll go out and, make money for the family and all of this stuff. But it's funny because I was like, I saw something on Instagram, I don't know, like last week or something. And it was like, the 1950s housewife was just like a brief moment of history. And it was this like idea that is just, it disrespects like all of the women of the past, because back in the day, the woman was never just like at home in her cute dress, like baking bread and like wiping the counters. It was like, no, she was either like gardening because they grew their own food. Yes, she was helping with the kids, but also the kids would sometimes go with the dad to hunt, gather, do all of that. And then
so you're telling me Leave It to Beaver was a lie?
Yes.
I cannot believe it.
So then and then sometimes if like the family had a business, the woman would help sell the stuff, run the business. Like, it was very much like a team effort. Like, okay, our family needs to survive. And so how are we going to make that happen? And the woman and the dad, the father, whatever, were both busy doing that. Like, the woman was never just like, oh, I'll be here in my dress when you get home at 5:00 with your little hot cooked meal, and that's it. It's like, no, they were scrappy. Women back in the day were freaking scrappy. They were getting to work. Yeah.
And we learned a kind of cool tidbit. So we were looking back in World War II era, and so all the men are out at war, and what were the women stuck doing? They were stuck doing the jobs that the men had left behind. So if these are all, if we kind of just assume that, we're still, there's this false belief that like all Christians believe that, women just need to be at home and they just need to be quiet and just kind of, cook the meals and whatever. Well, even history contradicts that, because in World War II, how did we keep all our industries alive? Well, we did it when all the men were at war, because I don't think at that time women were allowed to have that role. It's the women that had to pick up all the slack and take care of all those jobs. And that started the movement of women having the confidence of realizing, we can be in this work world. We can do these roles. This is an opportunity they didn't have before.
Yeah, I think the issue comes in when like women just get really jaded by men. Like, obviously people hurt you and men have done a lot of harm to women. I will not say that that's not true, but
that'd
then
be the world's longest podcast if we talked about that.
But then it's like the woman has a responsibility to like go through her trauma, heal, and then be with a man that is kind and respectful and all of that. But I think the issue comes when like we become so jaded that then we just like discount that like men have any good to offer, because that's like the opposite. So it's like, well, we didn't like being oppressed, so we started feminism, but then why are we going to oppress men? Like, I don't even know. Does that have a word? What's like the opposite of feminism? I don't even know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know it.
But either way, it's like, well, let's not do to them what we didn't like being done to us. So that's like, I think where feminism goes like too far is like, it's just, well, all men are bad. I can never trust a man. Men have nothing good to offer. They're just a menace to society. It's like, well, no, I mean, yeah, there are some crap
It's
men
about
out there.
80% true. There is
But
that
it's
20%.
not, like, that's not all men, and that's not all situations, and there are still good men in the world. And when man and woman work together like we're called to do, it works really well.
So then I guess what shifted, so we have a differences in how we were raised. Then we throw in our belief in Jesus. And that I want to kind of press into a little bit more, because that changed and helped us combine these two worlds that were complete polar opposites and make it work. And not only make it work, but then learn more about each other, learn more about equality, learn more about, how God's design for us. And I would say the one, so how I was raised, it limited a woman's power. And then I met Kira, I met you. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Like, you created a business, you hustle, you did all these things. And I was like, I was threatened. It was wild. I'm going to be honest. I was threatened at first. I was like, oh, are you going to be like the breadwinner? And what it like flipped my world upside down. But why it initially upset me is because it was a me problem. Mm-hmm. It was my self-confidence was taking a hit, because I was like, I had this vision that, okay, I was going to be the breadwinner, and this is how things were going to be. And it was my confidence. And so I think a lot of men need to look into the mirror and go, okay, anytime we see a woman succeed, do we see it as a threat? Do we see it as an issue? And then instead of blaming that person, look inward and go, what is it about you? And so I think for me, it was like, oh, is she going to think that I'm like no good? Is she like, if she's making more than I am, like what is her thought of me? And just kind of had to sit with that a little bit, and then had to learn to realize, like, no, we both have a love for God. No matter what happens, who succeeds, who not, that's a common goal win. That's a success. And so kind of seeing it not so much as the roles, not so much as this traditional who's the breadwinner, who's not, but
and that's probably how suppression all started. Like, men had their egos, and they were like, well, I'll be darned if this woman's going to be more successful than me. Like, that's probably how the oppression, but how it all started. It was like, well, I don't want her to become a better asset than me. So, like, let me kind of just keep her at home where it's safe and she can just do her little thing and, not be out in the world.
And call the big elephant in the room. What's easier, going to work or watching the children?
Yeah. So
just answer that question. What's easier?
Watching the children. They were like, oh, the woman will deal with that.
Yeah. I've done corporate America, and you go there and you do your, like, you're there for 9 hours. You do your about 3 hours of work. You mess around the rest of the time.
But some women genuinely feel so fulfilled and purposeful being home with their kids and doing all of these things that we just described, being a homemaker, creating meals, keeping up, organizing the house. Like, some women, like, that is very fulfilling for them. And it's like, great, rock that out. Right. Like, but some want something a little bit different, and that's fine too. But it's like, that's the whole point, is that, like, you should have the option to choose what works best for your family. It's not just like, oh, well, this is just your role because you're a woman kind of thing.
Correct. And that's where our view changes, is when you enter a relationship that leads to a marriage. What are these are the conversations you need to have. What are your giftings? What are you good at? What are you not good at? Now, at the same time, maybe the things that you're not good at, you could be better at. You could grow, right? Yeah. But let's focus on our gifts. Let's focus on how, as we work as a team, how we're going to pull this off. Mm-hmm. But I do want to spend some time about, like, how our faith in Jesus has changed as well, because everything. So feminism isn't so much a new idea in my book, because so I grew up a certain way, in a certain pivot of the Bible as to this traditional role. But now that I'm older, I'm reading the Bible on my own, I'm starting to realize that, wait, like, Jesus, when he came down to earth to represent God and the Trinity, like, just to simplify it, all he did was empower women. That's all he did. And there's countless stories in the Bible that I've read since I was a kid that I just didn't pay attention to until I became an adult, until we got married, and I realized that, man, God put some spark in you. You're a powerful woman. Like, I want to see that ignite, and I want to see that take off. And then I realized, oh, that's a heart that God gave me, because God's own son came down, and all he did was just make women important and valued and listened to them and did things that technically he wasn't even.
Well, and like, Mary was the one that brought him to earth. A woman did that.
A woman did more that. Snaps.
A woman brought the son of the God to the
son
earth.
of man on earth because of a woman. And so I want our audience to know that, like, it's not so much feminism defining things. It's that this is the creator of the earth put this in our heart, I believe. This yearning for those that are marginalized to feel valued, to feel appreciated. And we still live in a world where, think about in 2025, we've evolved, but we live in a world where there's still, we have still gender equality. We still have, based on races and all sorts of different things. We still have this issue, but at the heart of Jesus and the heart of the belief that we have in God, he desires our common love and our common purpose. And ultimately, this is going to be the unpopular opinion. It's so that our desire is for him. And if we all had a relationship with God and we all desired Jesus, equality and all these other issues that we have currently today, they would be a non-issue because we will all automatically share the heart of Jesus. So what is that heart of Jesus? Well, the heart of Jesus is meeting the woman at the well. He wasn't supposed to talk to a Samaritan. Being a Jew, they couldn't talk to a Samaritan woman. It was I'm trying to think like a common place for today. That would be like an Orioles fan talking to a Yankees fan. That would be like, I don't know, just like, who's a person that you can't stand with all your heart and your soul? And that would be like you then offering friendship and kindness to it. So that was back in the day. The Jews and the Samaritans just couldn't handle each other. And Jesus intentionally goes to this town, intentionally talks to this woman, intentionally meets her where they're at. At that time, if you cheated on your spouse, you were supposed to be stoned to death. So times have changed a little bit. In 2025, you get cheated on, you get a divorce, and you get remarried, and life is good, right?
Bring it back.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of missing. Who does more cheating, women or men? Because there'd be a lot of stonings going on. Yeah, so there'd be a lot of men that'd be stoned. So then he basically calls her out. She's supposed to be stoned, and what does he do? He's like, everybody here has sinned. We've all made mistakes. I'm not condemning you. I give you freedom. I want you to walk in your freedom. So he's constant. And then here's another situation with Martha and Mary. So he had followers of him that were women. And Mary sat there at a temple listening to Jesus. And it wasn't a great idea for a woman to be at the temple. It was really a place for the men to be at. And so here's a woman being at the place of Jesus, and he invites that and he encourages that. So I think what's radical is I think there's a lot of believers and there's just a lot of thought that, the second me and you say, we believe in Jesus, we're Christians, everybody's assuming, well, that just means that Kira just has to sit at home, have no opinions. You're just taking care of the kids. Your own personal health and wellness isn't important. And what's crazy is it's the complete opposite, thanks to God and our belief in him, because again, equality is so vital and important to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's true. He loved women. He loved the ladies, but not like that. Oh gosh. He's just, yeah.
So then there's this quote that I read. I wish I could have sourced it. It was just like on a forum, but I thought it was so powerful. It's not so much that we need to look at feminism as being the answer. We need to look at Jesus as being the answer to these problems. So we don't a lot of people try to take Jesus and put him in the mold of feminism. And they go, all right, if Jesus was here today, what would he believe in feminism? Would he be a feminist? What would he say about abortion? We'd take all these hot topic issues and we try to put Jesus and make him fit the mold of the issue. And here's what I would love to encourage our listeners. Take those issues and put it to him and give it to him and see what he would say and see how he changes your heart. And that to me is the crux of the situation here. And that's, so technically you can put all these labels on us. Would we define as being feminist? Well, feminism is such a huge, now it's like, it's becoming do you believe in abortion or non-abortion? It's like feminism blankets so many things. So technically I want to say, yeah, we're a pro-feminism family, but I also don't have to agree with everything that it lines up for. It's the same thing in the political world with the Republicans and Democratic. It's like, you're either a Republican or Democratic, and everybody just assumes, okay, if you're Republican, you agree with everything that the Republicans are doing, or you're a Democrat and you agree with everything they're doing. wake up, world. It's 2025. Can I be something and not have to agree with every gosh darn thing that's in it? Right? So why can't I, if I say I'm a Democrat, do I have to agree with every single action that Joe Biden did? If I say I'm a Republican, do I have to agree with every, but you know what? In this world, that's the divide. Everybody, oh, you stand for, oh, you, and you know what? You have to stand so strong.
Yeah, we're spending more time putting labels on people than we are actually getting to know them and understanding their trauma, understanding their pain, helping them heal. Like we've lost like the humanity. It's like, well, you're just this and you're just that, and we can't get along. It's like, okay, but that's not the truth. And it's like, that's the whole point, is that like, yeah, I don't think Jesus would have labeled himself as a feminist, but he did come to stand up for those who were being mistreated. Like he was all about widows and orphans and women who were being suppressed and all of it. Like he cared about that. He has a heart for those people.
And I think I want people, and we're not, this episode isn't to give a whole history on the feminism and like, we're going to unpack everything with feminism, but even I think feminism can be such a beautiful thing. I think equality is a beautiful thing, but even feminism was founded, upon some racism principles. It was founded for mostly the empowerment of white women. So even I guess what I'm trying to say is anything of this world can't be pure. It just can't be the answers. Even feminism, like if I just say, do you love equality? Like a lot of people would agree. Yeah, I want equality. Okay, well, we started the feminism movement. Well, feminism movement is beautiful, but there's also telling black women that, hey, when we do this march, when we do our first march in 1913, you got to be in the back of the line. Well, that doesn't share the values of God, So all I can just keep preaching and saying is let God show you how he wants equality. Let him show you what his purpose and his plan is. All right. So basically to summarize, I think all we want to convey is that Jesus' heart is very aligned with equality, and it loves the oppressed. It loves the least of these. It loves those that feel left and deserted and abandoned and stuff. That's his heart. And so that's our heart too, as we've gotten to become closer to him. And it's so vital for us to share. And we've been blessed with 4 daughters. So I've had to learn that, hey, my old school way of thinking, that's broken. It's not going to work. Like people are not like, am I just going to tell my daughters they have these roles? Okay, you're just going to have babies one day and just make the husband happy. It's not going to, that's not going to work. It's unacceptable for me. I want each of my kids, and I want, you as well, to fulfill the calling God's given to you. And that can mean many things. A pro athlete, that could mean, I don't know, what do we think? Cheerleading. You could be in cheerleading. You can do, you want to own a business? You want to create a business? I mean,
you want to be in finances?
Am I going to sit there and be like,
a lawyer, a doctor?
Am I going to be like, I was really hoping you were just going to have some babies?
Yeah. And it's really just about like, what are you passionate about? What do you want to bring to the world? Because like, again, I think the line of thinking in my family was like, well, since you need to pave your own way, you need to be like a nurse, a doctor, something that's going to make you good money, because you don't want to depend on a man to provide for you. But at the same time, it was like, well, I like that principle of like, yeah, I can support myself. Like I'm capable and able to do that. But also I don't want to just be like a doctor or a lawyer. And again, no offense, I'm just not passionate about that. Like I wanted to go the creative route, and that's an option too. Like if that's what you want to do, if you want to be a hairstylist, a nail tech, whatever you want to do, is like God gives you a gift, figure out what your gift is and just offer that to the world. And again, like I said, there is so much value in being a homemaker. I don't want to discount that at all, because I've done all of the jobs, and that is by far the hardest. And it's so valuable. Like you can bless your family so much by being a great homemaker. So I don't want to like disrespect that profession by any means. It's just, but it's just
it's one of the hardest, honestly.
Yeah, it's you don't have to do, that shouldn't be your default. It's like, let's figure out what's going to be a blessing to the family. And also let's try not to become like man haters through the process.
Sometimes it's deserving, sometimes it's a bit much.
Yeah.
So that leads us to unpopular opinion. I guess I'll kick it off. My unpopular opinion is the fact that I believe, especially in a marriage, in the role of a marriage, the state of the women in your personal life are dependent on your leadership or lack of leadership or AKA failed leadership. It's funny. So let's, while we're on this feminism kick, let me call myself out. So how I started leading the marriage with the beliefs that I had at that time was controlling. You would eventually you would have left me before you would have been submissive to a point, but that I had those traditional roles initially. And I saw you slowly start to not be as, I always refer to you as like a bright light. And, you have this bright aura around you. And I think a lot of people, if you've ever met Kira, you would know what I'm talking about. Like there's a bright aura around you. And I would say for the first couple of years in our marriage, my failed understanding of who God really was, and just, I don't know what Christianity I was applying myself to, but it was bull. It was a complete lie. It wasn't even God. It wasn't even the heart of the word of God, but it was this traditional role of like men are in charge and we lead and we do. And that's like, I saw your bright light start to dissipate. And I was 1,000% responsible for that. And now thank to God that he's gotten a hold of my heart and he's opened my mind to just, wow, I'm responsible for how you are. And so the more I've let you free, the more I've supported you, the more I've loved you properly, the more I've just let you dream. And then not only let you dream, let you then experiment with these dreams, let you have a vision, support the vision. Just like, it's almost like I see you as like how do I put this in a serious way? You're a butterfly. And a butterfly they're so pretty and they're kind of unpredictable where they want to go sometimes. As a man, I'm strong. I could squish the snot out of a butterfly. And so it's important for men to be delicate and understand what they're holding on to. When you marry a woman, what are you holding on to? And I understand women can even be really strong. I mean, there's women out there that could honestly...
There's some crazy women out there.
There's women that could like literally break me physically to pieces. But my point is like their spirit, a woman's soul is delicate. Mm-hmm. And it's exactly how God creates. Same with a man's soul. A man's soul deep down behind a rugged exterior, we're delicate. We're just all souls trapped in a body. And my point is that vision of a woman being a butterfly helped me understand like, what am I cultivating? Am I just keeping you trapped in a net? Am I keeping you trapped in a little igloo in a little shelter? And I just poke at you every once. Oh, look at that cute little butterfly. Or am I letting you be free? Am I letting you be unpredictable at times? Am I letting you, like, how am I as a steward of the blessing of being married to you? And then how do I treat women from that? So if I treat you properly, well, then it's naturally going to lead to treating other women, my daughters properly. Strangers I interact with.
Well, and that results in me really respecting and wanting to follow you, right? So I think the whole idea is like, don't just force women into submission. Set a good example. Be a loving, respectful husband. And like that woman is going to return the favor, right? Like we're very loving, nurturing, caring people. So it's like we want to be in that role, but we need to be led properly. And it's like, yeah, if your man is doing that, like get on board, right?
Well,
like,
and this is what I finally figured out. If a man is following Jesus with his whole heart, that means worshiping him, intimacy with him, like understanding the scripture, just like a wholehearted pursuit of Jesus, then that man will have qualities that come out of him from God that a woman will just want to be a part of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's contagious that you're just going, I want that. I want to be with that. I want, and it's very simple and that fixes a lot of issues, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess my unpopular opinion would just be like when I say things like women empowerment or girl power, or I'm raising strong, independent women, it means that I'm disrespectful to men. And I think sometimes my personality and my background comes through and I will be a little stubborn and bull-nosed and not follow the leadership that I should be following because I have to learn things my way, the hard way. But
don't we all?
So I'm not saying that I've always been this way, but it's like, no, I still want to respect men. I don't want to just hate on them. I don't want to have that bitterness in my heart or think that all men are bad. And like, I want to believe that, especially for my daughters, that there are good men out there. So it's like, I can still stand for women and for proper treatment of women, but also still be respectful to men, if that makes sense.
Well, it comes back to our conversation about, okay, you're either a Democrat or you're a Republican. And it's like, no, you don't pigeonhole me and tell me what I am. So I think a lot of people, hear your comments and they assume, oh my goodness, Kira is just we would call you like a raging feminist. And it's like, and that's why I thought this podcast is so cool. And it was good to get you
that I'm
share a
like
little more
out of line or I'm like out of control. And it's like, no.
Like, don't put you in your mold. You can't be molded into what people think. A lot of people are just going to listen. Oh, she's a raging, or
but
she's
I am
she's
like,
that.
I mean, cross me or my girls or my soccer girls. And I think some people out there know that it doesn't go well for you. So I'm a girl's girl. I will stick up for girls. But at the same time, if a man is treating a woman properly, I will respect that man and I will listen to that man and I will follow the leadership of that man. But it's like you can have both. But again, I believe the man has you could go so far to say that the man has the harder job because God's calling him to set the example and be the leader. That's a big calling. That's a heavy calling. And it's like, it's hard to get right. But when you do get it right, like it's great. The woman's like, yes, let's go. So,
and let me just share this little tidbit because what you said is beautiful. The man's calling such a high calling, but it was on purpose. The calling is impossible for a man. It's impossible. And we've seen it in 2025. Men are failing, including myself. We have failed so bad that movements like feminism have to be created to try to get some equality. But here's the point. Jesus designed a man's heart to desire God. But we live in a world in 2025 where men's heart have gone astray and God's the last thing we desire. We desire women. We desire success.
Money,
we desire
fame.
cars, fame, fortune, whatever. Name the list. And they're all idols. And so it's driven our hearts away from God. So now we're left with this task of, let's lead our families well. Let's lead our spouses well. It's impossible without God.
And
it's
kids.
Virtually impossible. And I can tell you that from our own testimony and our own story. I failed miserably, hand and foot. And the only reason I'm seeing even any ounce of success is because I've aligned myself to him. So let's not get that twisted. Is if in a perfect world, we had a big revival and people all found Jesus and men wholeheartedly pursued him, desired him. Give it a little bit of time. You'd be surprised. We live in a world where we don't need to have these conversations. We don't even have to march anymore. We don't have to because naturally the equality will happen. So it's our hearts being aligned with Jesus more than it is
I do have a bonus unpopular opinion.
First.
You may have to cut it out because it's that controversial.
Oh my goodness. All right, send your hate mail over to Kira.
Nicole. No, I'm just kidding.
We're not telling you.
You can find it. It's very easy to find if you want it.
Don't Google it.
All right.
Yep. Well, thank you for listening. That was an easy, lighthearted topic. We'll keep them more lighthearted in the next one. Actually, probably not. Let's just keep going with this.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, it's like if we're gonna sit down and do this, let's go for it.
Let's do the dang thing. Yeah.
Do it. All right. Well, you can find us on Instagram at Living Life with the Rogers, and that has all of our podcast content. Kira Nicole photography, personal life, and then you've got Rogers Home Improvement for all your house needs. We got all the handles. Camstruction for
the
dad
good
life.
news is, let's just clarify. We don't keep all this, our beliefs in God and everything else. It's a part of who we are and stuff, but. Just because you book one of our services, we don't keep our stuff to ourselves. We're here to love you, support you.
We just love people.
Yeah.
No matter who you vote for, what you believe, what you look like, we'll love on you. It doesn't matter to us.
Yep, buddy. All right. Well, thank you for listening.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Living Life with the Rogers. You can find us on Instagram at Living Life with the Rogers Family. We love to post on there and hear from our followers.
If you would like to hear future episodes, make sure to follow or subscribe to be the first to know when a new episode is released. See ya.